Greetings everybody, hopefully you're having an amazing new year so far. Now, starting back with my Being Black series. Now, I've been planning this one for a hot minute, like for months, and it's just been sitting on my whiteboard with all the ideas there, and I didn't actually have the time to sit down and plan it, but finally I did plan it after reading this amazing book, The Falsification of African Consciousness by Amos N.Wilson. Now this book right here drops a whole load of knowledge. Like, I don't know if you can see, but I've underlined so much of it. So I'm going to be talking a bit about this. I'm going to be quoting some of his stuff whilst I'm talking to you about mental slavery. I'm going to have my notes with me because I may just forget my train of thought, so bear with me. So this topic is mental slavery. So what do you think of when you think about mental slavery? I sat down and I wrote loads of different things, but then it wasn't until I looked back and I realised that all these things fall under the idea of white supremacy. Now, I personally don't like using the term white supremacy because that kind of implies that white people have this innate sense of superiority, that they're more capable of doing something, that they're more suited to this role, when in actual fact it wasn't the fact that they were born more superior, but it's just because they use these strategic methods to make themselves higher than the rest of us. Now there's a quote that I need to read to you on page 113. Now Amos, he quotes another person for quote, I can't really say his name, but in this quote it says, in short, this power is exercised rather than possessed. It is not the privilege acquired or preserved of the dominant class, but the overall effect of its strategic positions. They use their strategies of taking our history away from us, making us feel like we're underneath them for some reason, making us hate our skin colour. Through their strategy, birthed all these things that are wrong with us, or that are wrong with our mind within the black community, such as shadism, not trusting our own people, and the fear of success. I'm looking down because I have to check my notes, okay? And the fear of success. I mean, as a people, why is it that we must force ourselves to believe in ourselves? Why is it that it's hard for us to actually believe that we can succeed? Isn't it part of our genetics? Why is it that white people are more, on a whole, successful than black people, supposedly? And why do we constantly want to conform to this Eurocentric ideals? Now, when I first started reading The Falsification of African Consciousness, I came across this quote in the first section. I'll think it's on the second page as well. Now the quote is, to manipulate history is to manipulate consciousness. To manipulate consciousness is to manipulate possibilities. And to manipulate possibilities is to manipulate power. Think about that. Let that settle. To manipulate history is to manipulate consciousness. Without knowing our history, we are unconscious. To manipulate consciousness is to manipulate possibilities. If we are not conscious of our history and of ourselves, we limit ourselves to what we can achieve. And to manipulate possibilities is to manipulate power. If we're setting ourselves to a low standard, then how are we ever going to be powerful? That quote right there, page 2 of the book, guys, page 2. And I was like, damn, Amos. People who are ahistorical, who have little knowledge of history, are people who are more gullible, more easily manipulated, and people who could be easily adapted to the capitalist machine than people who are historically knowledgeable. How many of us enjoyed history at school? Because I hated history. You know what we learned in history? We learned about the shooters, about the Black Death. That's all I remember. History that we learned is nothing like the history that I'm learning now. And now I'm in love with history. Like, I seek out historical places, books, films, events that I can go to, because now I'm learning my history. I'm feeling more awake. I have now awoken. That's how it feels. And once you know your history, the possibilities are endless. You know how people say, why do we care? It's in the past. Or if you don't know your past, how are you meant to move forward? And this quote here says, Eurocentric history is used to motivate forgetting in the African personality, to create amnesia, to maintain repression. The only thing that they probably taught me about Black history was Martin Luther King's speech, non-violence, Rosa Parks basically sitting down, refusing to stand up. I never learned about Malcolm X at school. And I wonder why they didn't teach you about Malcolm X, because right now I'm feeling very Malcolm X-y. The only other thing that I remember learning was probably slave history, about the American slave trade. And even that they didn't touch on too hard. But when all you're learning about is a negative history, it's about slaves, it's about how put down we are, then why would you want to learn more? Why wouldn't you want to forget it? Why wouldn't you want to repress this information? When you're not learning about how much we were kings and queens and how much we taught the world, how we travelled, how rich our culture and our history really is. When you're trying to keep something down from somebody, that's when you can repress them. That's when you can have control over someone. One of the most profound things that we've learned in psychology is that the most powerful forces that shape human behavior are those factors that are consciously not remembered by human beings. If we are repressing this information and not remembering it, it is controlling our lives without realizing it. Like when you go to a therapist and they ask you to sit down, lie down and recount all your childhood memories, and you start bringing up things that you totally forgot about and that you put down, but those things are what is constructing your behavior, constructing your actions. Those memories that we choose to forget are coming through without us realizing it. Think about how deep that is. When someone knows, most of these psychologists that they teach you about, what European people like Freud and all that, they know all this stuff. They probably sat down on the big table and thought, you know what, guys, let's teach them history that they don't want to know. Then they'll suppress that memory, and then it'll come through their actions. Then we can control them more easily. Once you control someone's history, you control someone's thoughts. Much like this quote here. If you can control a man's thinking, you do not have to worry about his actions. When you determine what a man shall think, you do not have to concern yourself with what he will do. That is by Carter G. Woodson, The Miseducation of the Negro. This leads to mental slavery. See, you can conform when you're mentally saved. You will dress like they dress. You will buy what they buy. You will spend all your money in their shops. You fear being greater than your master. You fear learning more things. You know that back in the day, it was illegal for anyone to be able to write who was Black. So let that sink in. If our ancestors, some of our ancestors, whatever, if within our history, we had to hide the fact that we could actually write, that we were actually knowledgeable of things, does that not kind of link to what's happening right now? How some of us are afraid to reach beyond what the people in control of us know. We're afraid that if we make something too good, they will come after us. If we learn too much, they'll come after us. We're not allowed to know too much. We have to be beneath everyone else for us to be controlled. So what has really changed? You're afraid of independence. You won't buy for your own people. You'd rather spend your money on things that are worthless. Money circulating within the white community rather than our own community, helping us build ourselves, helping us be independent, helping us have group economics, but you don't want to learn about that. You'd rather stay where you are, working for the white man, giving him your money, taking in as much as you can, thinking, yeah, he likes me, I got a promotion at work. Well, one work. Why would you want to work for someone who doesn't care about you, really? You see, integration was one of the most dangerous things that happened to us as a community. Through integration, they stopped being as obvious with their racism and with how they're trying to keep us into one box. They stopped being obvious about it. It's more subtle now. I'm going to insert some pictures here from advertisements and different things, and see what you make of it. You've probably seen them around social media before, but look at it. Well, if you can't say it out loud, then why not print it everywhere for everyone to see? Obviously. This is the same for police reports, television shows, films. I mean, even the new Star Wars film. Everyone was ranting and raving about this new black character in the film. My guy from South London. So John Boyega plays Finn in Star Wars. I haven't watched the new Star Wars film. I'm not a Star Wars fan. But I watched a bit of a video because I was told to watch it. Well, I wasn't told to watch it. Someone was talking about it by Tariq Nasheed, talking about Star Wars. And he talks about the character that John plays, Finn. So Finn in this film, who was posted everywhere, making a big deal about this new black Star Wars character, one of the main characters in the film. But yeah, in the film, according to Tariq Nasheed, he was a scared slave. He was emasculated, running and following behind people. He was a sidekick to everyone. So once the film came out, all these white supremacists who were cussing him in the first place were like, yeah, that was a great film. Because they realised that he really wasn't powerful in the film. He was exactly what they wanted to see. He was the slave. If we're anything more than that, then they'll be like, why is he playing that role? Like the new Harry Potter play that's coming out, and a black woman's playing Hermione. Why is it such a big deal? Why isn't it a big deal when Katniss in Hunger Games isn't the same as she's described as the book? Why isn't it a big deal when they whitewash everything? Why is it a big deal when they have an all-black version of the Wizard of Oz? When the original Wizard of Oz was a white version and no one was complaining then. They don't want to see us as equals. They want to keep us enslaved. You can't do it physically no more, so they're going to do it mentally. So I've talked a lot about the negatives, but there are a couple of positives that I can kind of call positives. And one of them being we push ourselves more. We strive more. We push ourselves to become better than what we are expected to be. We are both stronger mentally, physically, and also emotionally, I guess. One of the most positive things that I found from it is that sense of newfound life, newfound importance when you actually discover all these things for yourself. When you discover the knowledge, when you read about it, when you hear about it, when you see it in front of you, you've had this newfound growth. Like you feel like a new person when you actually learn all these kind of things. And I encourage everyone, like I said, to read the book. Is there a solution to it? I don't know. But what I do know is that we cannot combat white supremacy overnight. What we can do is teach our children. What we can do is learn. What we can do is go to events and share information that we learn. We can boycott such things as Black Friday. We can boycott all these big sales. We can start buying black, we can help people in our local community. Share the love, share the wealth, keep it in within ourselves. Make the right choices when it comes to where you spend your money, what you consume, what knowledge that you put inside you, what you listen to, what kind of films you watch. Think. And if you do want to watch films that put our people down, then watch them with a critical eye. Don't just let it go seep in and go into your subconscious. Don't be passive consumers, but be active watchers, okay? I'm going to leave you with this question. Is there a book, a phrase, a poem, a song, or something that you heard before that has changed your mind on the way you view people, our history, our lives? If so, please leave it in a comment below. I'd like to know. And if you like this video, please comment, subscribe and share. And let me know what other topics you want me to talk about, because I have got a whole list, but I do need some help. Thanks, guys.